It's the Afcon Final, and that should be the focus. The two best teams in the competition, the two best teams in Africa facing off against each other. But there's a nasty undercurrent of a specific narrative going that this is somehow the real Africa against the Arabs. I'm going to tell you why this doesn't make any sense, and it is a foolish and illogical stance to take. So look, man, I'm looking forward to the final. I can't wait. I think this could potentially be a fantastic final. Now, I'm not sure what the prediction is. I'm thinking that this might go to penalties. I feel this will go to penalties, but I just feel like if you've got two great teams, two amazing teams who play great football, amazing talents, you have the likes of Idrissa Gueye, Ndai, Sarr, Mane, Koulibaly, I believe, is missing. And of course, Hakimi, your boy, Emenesri, El Kabi, what's it called? Abde, and all of this. And of course, Bono and your man, Brahim Diaz. So it's a great final. And I think we don't normally get this. How many times have we seen in finals when the two best teams never really make it? So this is perfect where the two best teams were separated, they won their games, and now the two best teams are in the final, and we hope to see a fantastic game against two big sides. That should be the focus. But I need this is also going to come up, and this always comes up. I'm parading the internet, even my good friend who I know is watching. So this is my friend who is watching, my close family friend who's watching. Believe that this is not just a regular Afcon final. Senegal represents Africa, and Morocco represents the Arab world. These are the Arabs against the true Africans. And people of the West, in the Central, in the East, and in the South are all behind Senegal to win this truly for Africa. That's stupid. I'll say right there. It's stupid. Dominion influence, but that's stupid and it's illogical. And I'll explain to you why it's illogical. So let's start at the top here. I'm not an African. I know it sounds shocking. I'm not an African. Think about our statements. I am not African. Because Africa is not a culture. Africa is a mass of land. So is South America, so is North America, or rather the Americas, Asia and Europe. They are masses of land. Asia is not a culture. South America is not a culture. Africa is not a culture. So when I say, I'm African, what does that mean to be African? I'll go one step further. I'm not Nigerian. The word Nigeria was made by a random white woman who was the wife of Lugard, who helped carve up Nigeria, and she came up with the term Nigeria. But the term Nigeria doesn't mean anything. And if you know your Latin, Niger, it means black in Latin. So you have the river Niger, and Nigeria. So the word, Niger, Nigeria, black, put it there. So that's how they came up with it. But I'm not African. I'm not Nigerian. Africa doesn't exist. Africa is a mass of land. So whoever is in that mass of land is African, not by culture, by geography. And that is where the mix-up is. All because you're black doesn't make you African. I'm sorry. I'll go in a step further. So I'm not African. I'm not Nigerian. What am I? I'm a mixture of two tribes. Now, for those who know Nigeria, you come from your father's tribe. And on your passports, your middle name is a name given to you from your father's tribe. So, I am Ishan. I'm not African, I'm not Nigerian, I'm from the Ishan tribe, based in Benin. And which used to be the Benin Empire, from the Benin Kingdom that has existed for hundreds and hundreds of years. Shout out to the British Empire, stealing our stuff. And you go to the British Museum, they have a lot of our artifacts from our Benin kings, the Oba of Benin. Oba means king. So I'm from the Ishan tribe, and my tribe goes back hundreds and hundreds of years, and the people of Benin who make amazing bronze carvings. Some of the best bronze carvings you've ever seen come from Benin. That's where I'm from. Now, I like to celebrate both sides of my family. So from my father's side is the Ishan tribe, and my mother's side are the Shekiris. And the Shekiris are from Warri in Delta State. And I've probably actually been to Warri more than Benin, family complications. So when people ask me, no, I'm not African. I'm not a Nigerian. I am Ishan and I'm Shekiri. That is where I'm from. That's my culture. That's my tribe. Because what means something is tribe, because the Ishan people and the Shekiri people, those are tangible tribes that have tradition that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years. There's no such thing as the Nigerian tribe. There's no such thing as the African tribe. It doesn't exist. It's a myth. And even go one step further. So you say, oh, we're all African. No, we're not. Africa is not a union. It's not. Because what does an Asian man have to do with a Zulu? What does a Zulu have to do with a Maasai? The Maasai have their own traditions and customs. The Zulus have their own traditions and customs. The Shekiris have their own traditions and customs. The Asian have their own traditions and customs. And let me go one step further. Let's take within the mass of Nigeria as well. What does a Yoruba man have to do with a Hausa man? Shout out to one of my closest friends in the world. Rest in peace. He isn't alive there anymore. Shout out to my guy Gani, who was Hausa. And he looks different, has his own language, their own food. Shout out to Suya. So Hausa people have their own food, have their own language, and have their own customs, separate from the Igbo people, separate from the Yoruba people. So even within the landmass of Nigeria, we are different. So if the Yoruba man and the Hausa man are totally different within the landmass of Nigeria, imagine how different the Yoruba man is from the Maasai. How different the Maasai is from the Zulu. The Ishan is from the Zulu. So, suffice to say, Africa is a massive land. Africa is not an ethnicity. Africa is not a tribe. I'm not African. What does it mean to be African? I'm sorry. I am totally different from a Igbo person. I'm totally different from a Zulu. I'm totally different from a Maasai. So, Morocco are within the landmass of Africa, which makes them African, not by tribe, not by ethnicity, by geography. And that's just us. So that is why when people say Africa, I'm like, wait, hang on, what the hell do you mean? Because again, I've got to quote him now. This guy is a bit controversial, and I don't totally agree with everything that he says. This guy called Frank Gazzano. Some stuff he says I don't agree with, and some interviews he's done I don't agree with. But one thing he said is true. He said that all because I see another black man, what makes him my brother? You see, when you see another black man, he's your brother because of racism. But if I see another black man who happens to be from South Africa and a Zulu, how am I connected to him when I'm Asian and Shekiri? And our traditions and our customs are totally different from the Zulu. Oh, but we should be together because we share the same skin color? This is what Frank Gazzano said. That doesn't make any sense. So, people, because what we like to do in life is divide and conquer. Us, them, us, them, us, them. That's what the whole stupid Biafra war was about, and the issues that there are right now. And my mother, who was caught up within the Biafra war, and luckily survived, because of Igbo, Yoruba, and all this nonsense. Guys, Africa, the landmass, and the tribes within Africa have more to worry about than a fishnet match between the so-called Arabs and the true blacks. And as people said in my comments, Morocco is not actually fully Arabic. They're actually a mixture of a different traditions. And I'm sure some Moroccans will actually even comment on this and say, wait, hang on. Do you actually know the makeup of Morocco that isn't actually completely Arabic? But I just think that it is such an obtuse, narrow-minded view to now dilute this into Senegal are the true Africans because their skin is black, and these are the Arabs who invaded through Africa, and they're the anti-black, so we must support the Senegalese because we're black. Again, I like Senegal. You know, I had a Senegalese friend in my place of work, but as an Asian Shekiri person, why should I support the Senegalese over the Moroccans? The only way I would is, because of racism, hey, I'm black, you're black, people hate us because of racism, let me support you. Okay, fine. But it's through racism. It's through negativity. It's not through a real thing. Because what is real is tribe. What is real is tradition. What is really our customs. And what is real are hundreds, thousands of years of traditions, which is where you see from the Abyssinians, the Zulu, the Maasai, the Ishan, the Shekiris. So, going back, again, maybe for some people, that's what they need to do. Because again, the internet is a toxic place. It's a toxic place, you know. And people want to create divisions that don't exist. People want to be tribal when there's no need for tribalism. There's no need. Because remember, like, my mom actually said this great things to me, amazing. My mom said to me that, like, we're not all the same. We are different. But let's celebrate our differences and celebrate the different kinds of customs and traditions that exist. You know? So my thing though is, again, shout out to my sister. I need to go to Marrakesh because my sister goes to Marrakesh almost every other year. Like, that's her favorite spot. And the stories that she's told me and the stuff she's brought from Marrakesh, I'm like, bro, Marrakesh, that's next on my list. And when I go to Marrakesh, I'm going to the tribe and culture of Morocco. Again, I'm not going to an African country by tribe. Africa doesn't exist. Africa is not a real thing. Africa is not a tribe. There is no tribe called Africa. There isn't. It's a mass of land. So whether it's Morocco, whether it's Egypt, whether it's Chad, whether it's Zimbabwe, whether it's Lesotho, whether it's Kenya, whether it's Ghana, Nigeria, whatsoever, they're just masses of land. And also, all those names I just named, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, they're not real names. Those are names that were created by white people. As I said, which is why I say, when people ask me, that's probably what I'll be saying now right now. I'm like, no, I'm not from Nigeria. Nigeria doesn't exist. No, I'm from the Ishan tribe, from the Benin Kingdom, and the Shekiri tribe based in Warri. That's where I'm from, because that's real. Nigeria isn't real. It was made up by a random white woman, you know. So, but back again, I'm going to enjoy this game, and may the best team win. If Senegal win, I will be super happy for Mane. Mane gets put in a very, very strong conversation. Senegal will now win their second. And if Mane is able to inspire Senegal to their only 2 Afcon trophies, he gets put in a very special category. And now, Eto'o is still the GOAT. If Mane leads Senegal to a second Afcon, there's an argument that he goes over Yaya Toure. You can make an argument. I mean, Yaya Toure was outstanding for Man City, but you can make an argument that 2 Afcons, a Champions League, what he did it for Liverpool, what he's done for Senegal, there are only 2 Afcons. You can make a strong argument that he's second behind Samuel Eto'o in terms of African greats. Again, but you have to shout your boy Abu Trika as well. So not crazy. If Morocco win, I'm a movie guy. I'm a sucker for a great story. And whenever I watch tournaments, Maybe that's the SAP Academy. Because I'm not an emotional guy. I don't have emotions. But my emotions come up whenever I just see a host nation win. I just like it. So any tournament that I see, I'm like, oh, I want the host nation to win. And I just like watching the celebrations and the videos of just a host nation win. So Morocco winning, the first time since 1972, being on a home soil of what has been a fantastic Afcon in terms of the football and how good the stadiums have been. It would just be a beautiful, amazing moment just to see all Moroccans celebrate an Afcon where some people were not even born when last they won an Afcon. Some people were too young to remember the last time they won the Afcon. So the amount of people born after 1972 or children in 1972 to actually see Morocco lift the trophy for the first time since 1972, and to also win it on home soil, it would be huge. It would be huge. So my thing is, I was just to say, when last did they win that Afcon? When last did Morocco? When last? So I think it's 1972. I believe it's 1972. Oh, sorry. 1976. So let me do 1976. So to see, imagine, so there were people who were too young in 1976. And there were people who were born after 1976. So those people who were too young in 76, who were born after 1976, to see Morocco lift that Afcon trophy on home soil, it might be the greatest party on earth. It might be the greatest party on earth, because my sister has told me stories of Marrakesh. I can only imagine how amazing Marrakesh is going to be and how popping off it's going to be if they win. So whether Morocco win or whether Senegal win, I just think it will be an amazing story either way. First time since 1976, on home soil, the biggest party on earth in Morocco, or Senegal winning, Mane leading them to 2 Afcon dubs. They're only 2 Afcon dubs, whether that puts Mane within the African goats. And that, guys, should be the focus of what it should be. Keep it strictly football, and let's enjoy the damn show. I'll see you guys on Sunday. Twitch watch along, post-match hangouts. May the best team win. If only Nigeria could bloody do it.